Since independence, Singapore has had a reputation of placing harsh restrictions on its media. But over the past decade, the internet has given those with an alternative view an avenue to challenge or even criticise the government. The ruling People's Action Party has done little to assert its control over political discourse on the web. But the country's media regulators have recently imposed new licensing requirements for online news websites, a move that has sparked a rare mass protest. Girish Solani reports.
Almost immune to mass demonstrations or demonstrations of any sort, it can only take something drastic to force more than 2,000 Singaporeans to come out in protest. This gathering at Speaker's Corner last month came after the government announced a new licensing regime aimed at regulating news content on the web.
Because the darkness has come! The darkness of internet regulation!
Others have gone online to vent their outrage.
It actually sucks that no one has made a rant about this at all. We are basically letting the MDA have their way. And the fact is, people will argue that people, when given this freedom, they will abuse it. And the fact is, they will abuse it. People will use this to make racist comments, be bigots or whatever, And I have no problem with that, except that these people, who abuse that freedom, they better have the balls, to step up and take responsibility for their actions and their words.
Under the new licensing rules, news websites will have to put up a $50,000 performance bond and risk forfeiting it if published material breaches the Media Authority's standards. The bond only applies to sites which publish at least one article a week on local news and current affairs over a 2-month period. The sites will also need to have 50,000 individual visitors from Singapore every month over 2 months.
It's important for us to put a regulatory framework which is as light as possible to ensure that those sites who are coming on board to report on Singapore news have to conform to certain minimum standards as far as we are concerned. And we think it's not as onerous as what has been made up by some people online.
I think the general sentiment is that Singaporeans are concerned. We do recognize that not all Singaporeans are aware of the full implication of this, because at the end of the day, this regulation is really an infringement on the constitutional rights.
Howard Lee is the Deputy Chief Editor of the Online Citizen, arguably Singapore's most popular independent community news website. He also helped initiate the Free My Internet campaign aimed at sending a strong message to the government to keep its hands off the web.
What it does allow anyone to do, any politician who so sees fit, to basically come in and say, okay, today TOC or Temasek TR Emeritus, we are regulated, and really we can't really fork out the $50,000 that we requested straight away. So it does affect our operations.
In 2011, media regulators classified his website as a political organization, which meant the Online Citizen was barred from receiving any funding from foreign sources. Singapore's Media Development Authority says the Online Citizen and other sites like it will not be affected by the new rules. In agreement is Government MP Vikram Nair, who's also a member of the Communication Ministry's Parliamentary Committee.
A lot of these blogs, what they do is they provide commentary, they don't actually report on the news. So most of them probably wouldn't be captured on that ground. And secondly, from what I understand, a lot of them don't also meet the requirement of having the 50,000 unique Singapore users.
While it's been almost a month since the new licensing rules came into force, skepticism remains.
The response to our query as to whether TOC will be affected was you will not be regulated yet, and that is a very big yet.
But some analysts say such a reaction may be premature.
My personal view is that there perhaps has been some overreaction on the part of the online world. I think, the way I look at it, it is very difficult for the government to move away from a light touch regime.
Eugene Tan is an expert in Singaporean law and a nominated member of parliament appointed by the president. Even so, he says the online community's concerns are legitimate.
One is that there was no consultation, and I think this is where they feel that there are sinister motives behind. The government has explained that the no consultation was simply because it wasn't a major change in the regulatory regime.
I don't think criticism of the government would be diminished in any way, and if you look at the quite vociferous criticism that has been surfacing about this bill alone, I think debate and online discussion is still pretty free and open.
Since 1996, there has only been one video deemed to incite racial hatred that was ordered to be taken offline, while 26 other online articles considered too sexual in nature were issued with takedown notices from 1996 to 2011. But historically, the Singaporean government has had a reputation for using defamation laws to stifle its critics, who include journalists and opposition politicians. And it's for this reason that Singapore's online community is vowing to keep up the pressure.
So one of the key things we will be going out with is to educate the public a little bit more about what exactly this regulation is about and how it actually does impact them.
The internet is the lifeblood of Singapore's economy, and I think we are increasingly being plugged into the internet, the global network, and I think it would do Singapore a lot of damage if we are seen to be curtailing legitimate public discourse.